4 years ago, this clip of June thing about the meter literally broke the internet. But since then MLGs have only gotten crazier and crazier. So it got me thinking, if there was a perfect Minecraft player who had every single skill at max level, what's the hardest clutch he could actually do? In other words, what is the hardest MLG in Minecraft? Now, before we get into the clutches, what does it actually mean for an MLG to be hard? Is it the speed you need to move at, or maybe even how many attempts it takes you to complete it? Well, the most obvious way to rank something is on a scale from 1 to 10, and after a few hours of dying, studying Minecraft mechanics, and then dying a bit more, I came up with 4 main categories to rank the clutches on. So let's quickly go through each of them. You see this red bar? It represents the time you have to do a regular water bucket clutch. In a second this little pointer is gonna move across the screen, and you just have to pause the video on the bar turns green to see if you're fast enough. Ready? Let's go. Easy, right? Now let's try a harder one. Yeah, that's what a 10 out of 10 looks like. So as you saw, this one's just about how well you need to time your clicks. And the rest of them are also pretty simple. Your aim is accurately you need to move your mouse, your movement is how precisely you need to move, and the breathing room is how much time you have between actions. So these are the 4 categories that determine how hard an MLG is, but there's literally an infinite number of clutches that could qualify as the hardest, so we kinda need some rules to narrow them down. First of all, it has to be possible for a human to do, and it also needs to be gravity based. So boring on lava or whatever this is doesn't count. Another rule is that it can be based on how lucky you get, cause if it is, let me just show you. In Dream Speedrunner vs 5 Hunters rematch, he flies off the edge of a cliff to get to the other side of a giant lava pool and quickly realizes he's too far away, meaning that he's probably just gonna fall in the lava. But then a random guest comes out of absolutely nowhere and saves his life, allowing him to jump to safety. Well, that's obviously possible and it is gravity based. It just so happens that the chances of it happening are astronomically low, meaning that technically it's the hardest MLG. You see the problem? But on top of that, we also need a few more rules for consistency, like the fact that it has to be in single player, every action must be relevant to the clutch, and it has to be simple enough for anyone to recreate. So now we have all of the rules and criteria for hard MLG, but as you probably noticed, we still don't have any clutches to pick from. So let's go through some of the most popular ones first. In Bob Blue Speedrunner vs 9 Hunters rematch, he does one of the craziest looking MLGs I've ever seen. In case you didn't catch it, he literally picked up the sweet berries and clutched them at the exact same time, which doesn't even make sense. But turns out, it's legit, cause I tested it, and it's actually pretty easy if you get the timing down. So even though it looks really impressive, this one's just not hard enough to make it to the qualifiers. Another one you may have heard of is the lava clutch, which makes it pretty straightforward. I mean, you just place it before hitting the ground and you're good, right? Well, it actually doesn't work like that, cause unlike water, lava doesn't protect you from fall damage. So if you try to clutch like this, you're gonna look like an idiot. What it does do, however, is slow you down. So if you jump from less than 40 blocks while hugging a wall and place it right before you land, you're good. As long as you don't burn alive, of course. But either way, this is even easier than the sweet berries one. So it's also joining the not hard enough club. I might have to rethink that name. And there are actually a lot of other clutches that may look pretty difficult to the average Minecrafter, like the slime block, scaffolding, or even throwing a slow falling portion before you land. But if you really wanna find the hardest MLG in Minecraft, we're gonna have to dig a lot deeper. Also, if you're wondering what about the bow clutch, it actually doesn't work anymore. Cause while it used to slightly push you up when you placed it, newer versions will just fall straight to and die. For some reason, I guess Mojang just hates us. But anyways, now that we messed around for a bit, it's time to actually talk about the real candidates, starting with the ladder MLG. So, this is what your inventory needs to look like, and the clutch is basically split up in 3 parts. You jump and craft the ladder, place the shulker box and grab a crossbow, load the crossbow, shoot a target and MLG on the trapdoor. Sounds easy, right? Well, if you wanna try it for yourself, these are the blueprints, so go knock yourself out. But you might notice that while most of the rules are satisfied, one of them isn't. And what is the only way to actually prove something is possible? Well, by doing it yourself. But I don't need to do the whole thing at once, cause if I manage to do each part individually, it means the entire MLG is possible by extension. So I started with the ladder craft. Okay, so I did the math and I have like 1 second to craft the ladder, which doesn't even sound that hard, so watch me do it first try. First try part 2. Okay, maybe it's gonna be a little harder than expected. So yeah, it would have been really cool if I didn't miss the clutch, but doesn't matter, I clearly crafted the ladder, so now we can move on to part 2, which is just placing the shulker and taking the crossbow, and now that I managed to craft the ladder in mid-air, I'm not even worried about this one. Oh shit. Yeah, safe to say it was a bit harder than the first part, cause even though I tried it for 2.5 hours, this is the closest attempt I got. And I'm counting it, I mean look, I was literally milliseconds away from picking it up, I don't care, it's clearly possible, we're moving on. So part 3 is by far the easiest one, cause unlike the previous two, there's not really anything insanely difficult about it, so after like 15 minutes of trying, I also got this one. And just like that, we proved that the first clutch is possible, so let's see what it will look like in real time. Pretty cool, right? Now let's go to the second MLG. For this one, your inventory needs to look like this, and what you have to do is jump, craft the hay bale, place the shulker box and grab a golden apple, eat the apple and MLG on the slabs. Now, you might notice that the crafting table is a little farther away for this one, and that's because you can actually craft the hay bale very quickly by just swinging your mouse around, so if you put it right here, it's roughly the limit of what's possible for a human. These are the blueprints so you can try it for yourself, and let's see how long this one takes me. Wow, that is much faster. Why am I getting deja vu? Oh my god, bro, I was this close to grabbing it. But anyways, it doesn't matter. If it's clearly possible, it's good enough for me. So let's move on to the next one, which is taking the apple from the shulker box. And it's actually the exact same as the one from the first MLG, so we can cross it off as well, cause you already did that one. And for the third part of this MLG, you just have to eat the apple and clutch with the hay bale. And it is actually pretty hard to start eating in time, but once you get the timing down and practice the hay clutch a bit, it's really not that hard, meaning that it wasn't long until I did this one as well. So now that we know this MLG is also possible, let's see what it looks like in real time. Nice. So now we reach the final MLG. For this one, your inventory needs to look like this, and this is what you have to do. Jump and craft a golden pickaxe, enchant it with efficiency 5, break the ice and fall into the frozen lake. As always, these are the blueprints, and let me stop yapping cause I'm scared and do the clutch already. First off, the craft is pretty much the same as the other two. It only took me 30 minutes cause I'm an absolute god, but either way this one's a check. And at first I didn't think enchanting would be that hard either, but then I tried it. Wait, what? Is that even possible? I'm actually screwed. So there I was, 3 attempts in, with the fear of wasting endless hours attempting an impossible clutch just growing inside of me. I knew that if I wanted any chance of sleeping that night, I had to find a better way. So after a small bit from clutching to brainstorm my options, I managed to come up with the perfect solution to this problem. Like I already said, to prove something is possible, you don't actually have to do it all at once, you just need to do each part individually. So first of all, I wanted to see how much time you have to put each item in its slot, which came out to exactly 2 frames in my best attempt, meaning that if I could drag the pickaxe inside within 2 frames of the square being highlighted, the whole thing is possible. And while it did take a bit longer than expected, I also managed to do it. So even though I kinda cheesed this one, we still proved that it's possible, and that's all that matters. So now we reach the last part of the final MLG, which might look like any other clutch at first, but there's a little aspect of it that makes it absolutely insane. You see, for this one you have to fall inside the ice after you break it, just like a dropper. But if you take a second to look down from the tower, can you tell me where you need to jump? Of course you can't, because it's borderline impossible, meaning that you have to blindly position yourself pretty much perfectly to make it, on top of having to break the ice. But after a while of just falling on the edges while questioning my life choices, I managed to do this one as well. Now let's watch it in real time, and then go to the final rankings. So now that we have the official candidates, there's nothing left to do but find out which one is actually the hardest MLG in Minecraft. So, part 1 is jumping and crafting an item as fast as you can, which is pretty much the same for all of these, so I'm giving them a 9.5 out of 10. Then there's the second part, in which you take an item out of a shulker box for the first 2, and enchant a pickaxe for the third one. Now, even though I feel like the pickaxe one is slightly harder than the other 2, you can't really objectively compare them, so they're all getting a 9.75 out of 10. And now we reach part 3, which is by far the most tricky one to score, because each of these are difficult due to very different things. So before ranking them, I wanna show you each MLG for one final time, and then reveal the winner. Ready? Let's go! So, with an overall of 9.58, the official Guinness World Record certified winner of the hardest MLG in Minecraft is the pickaxe clutch. But what if it's not? I mean, yeah, it is the hardest out of these three, but it's not even close to a 10 out of 10. So if any of you can find an even harder MLG I don't know about, be sure to let me know. And now make a shot of me attempting it. Hold on. Hello? What? The pickaxe MLG is impossible because there's a cooldown after you enchant it? So you're telling me I'm an absolute idiot for putting in a number 1? Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, guess the second MLG is the hardest one after all. Fuck!